Are you thinking about writing a book? Or maybe you've already written one, but you're not 100% satisfied with the outcome. Hi, Sigurd Cast here. I'm a book writing, publishing, and marketing specialist. My marketing optimized book writing and publishing program actually starts at just $565 US, and it is ideal suited for women in business who want to impact, empower, and inspire by sharing their vision and mission with a book. And in this video today, I'm going to share the fundamentals of writing a book that lead to success. What I'm sharing with you is why so many women invest in help to write their book, only to be disappointed when they are not achieving the success that they had hoped for. I'll also be sharing exactly what your journey of writing, publishing, and marketing your book needs to look like so that you can make the best decision to engage help. And I'll share what you can do if you're already published and you're not totally satisfied with the outcome. So let's get started and get into that. So the first point I want to share with you is why so many women are not achieving the success that they had hoped for, that they get help. And the big mistake is that they follow the completely outdated way of thinking and going about writing a book. It's this linear thinking that you do one thing after another, after another, after another. Now that does, number one, stretch out the time it takes for you to write your book, because you are doing one thing at a time. Each one takes time, and each one does not naturally lead to the next one because you're not prepared and you have not researched and you have not planned for the next stage. That is usually what happens. Now, a big thing is that I have said this before, and I say it again, time and time again, people follow advice, recommendations, or they just go out and search for what to do once they have already written their book. So the misunderstanding or this outdated thinking starts when people have the idea of wanting to share a message, wanting to share their story, and they just start writing because that's what in their mind, I'm just going to get going, I'll start writing. Then they all of a sudden are at about 100,000 words, or they start and stop and start and stop, and it takes 2 years, 3 years to even get off the ground with all of the writing. Now, why is that? I'll come to that in a moment when I share with you what it is really, what you should be doing, how this should look like. So this thinking that you got to start with writing, and you can just do that on your own. Sure, you might get a mentor. Some people get somebody that helps them with it. There might be a little bit more structure there. Some people start with a mind map. They put it all onto the back of the wall in their room, in their office, something like that. And they feel that that is enough to get going, and they finish all of that writing. But what they're not considering is there is maybe a structure in how you are writing, and word after word after word, hoping that, by the time you go to publish, there'll be an editor there somewhere will fix it all up. You get lost in your thoughts, you get lost in too many things or in not enough things, following that thinking, that outdated thinking. Just starting to write is a myth that comes from the movies, where they constantly portray this idea that she's a writer, she's going to go off to some secluded island and she's just going to write the story and it'll flow and the intuition will come. For fiction, that may work like that. For some people, that may work like that. But if you want to have the slightest hope of really making an impact with your book, you put your heart and soul and your story into it, and you want to make an impact, there is nothing other than planning for that impact, how you're going to make that. You really have to get started with planning, not the writing. But what is a real sad affair at the moment is that from time gone by, publishing was in the hands of serious professional publishing houses. They were the gatekeepers. You either were already well known and you would be published because the publishing house would take everything in hand. Or if you were a newbie, they were very critical and very clear on who would get in and who would not. So your work would have to be top-notch by their standards, whatever they were. The great thing is that this whole high-level feeling of a book is special, it is an authoritative work, which it is, that is from those days. And the great thing is it is maintained until this day, even though those publishing houses do not operate, generally speaking, in that way any longer. A lot of bigger ones have gone down because there wasn't enough work coming in the way they were operating with high-end expenses, and there just wasn't the way. The whole thing with self-publishing has destroyed a lot of those high-end publishing houses. But here's what happened. It seems that quite a few people that worked in those areas or in those publishing houses, they seem to have jumped into the market as boutique publishers, and also complete lay people just wanting to become an entrepreneurial business owner started to become a publisher. Now, I'm not saying these people don't know anything about publishing. They do have a good idea, generally speaking. But when they're coming from a publishing house, they don't always, or seem to rarely only know publishing on Amazon, for example. Time and time again. And in this last 2 weeks, I've had 3 people come to me that used a publisher, one that was recommended to them, another had searched out somebody, and somebody was approached by a publishing house. Now, these are smaller type boutique ones, and there is a particular one, I'm not going to name any names, that seems to be approaching people online where they see they're talking about or posting about writing. So they approach them and make an offer and say, oh, well, you can publish with us when you're finished. Now, I'm not 100% sure how they go about it. They look good and everything, but it appears so far from that particular output of that publishing house, I've seen 2 people where the outcome is not what the people needed to have. So the book has been published, but there's a lot of little things that should be straightened out. And I'll talk about that in a moment when I tell you what you can do if you've already published and it's not the outcome that you had hoped for or not the success you had hoped for. So the area of publishing has become very unwieldy in a way. There's a lot of people in that area that seem to know something, but not everything. They seem to know certain things, perhaps. They're trying to get clients, but they don't seem to be doing it in a way. They really don't know the ins and outs of Amazon publishing, for example. That seems to be the big one. Then you've also got out there the situation, again, I've had somebody share this with me, where they had somebody recommend a publisher to them, an outsourced one somewhere overseas. And unfortunately, what happened, this person was in a contract or is in a contract, has to stay now for 12 months with this group, with this publisher. They have control of their book on Amazon. They cannot access it at this point in time. And the way it is published, it looks like it was published in India. So it doesn't really help because she's not in India. She's here in Australia. So it's frustrating. But you can also get frustration with a really big, well-known publisher. So I've had somebody who spent about $8,000 on being published with a very well-known online publisher, did some course, went through the whole area of writing and publishing, spent that money, never ever got to the end of it, never got her book actually finished and published. In the end, she just threw it away, let it go, and started all over again with me. It was just too frustrating for her. So if you don't know what you don't know, I understand it is very difficult. So a bit of research, looking around what's out there and really digging a little bit further into what you want, starting with a plan, can make a big difference. And lastly, I want to say on this part of what I'm sharing with you, which is still on the first point of why so many women invest in help to write their book, only to be disappointed, is because if you don't know what you don't know. The other thing is that if you write 100,000, 150,000 words, which some people do, they have so much they want to share, and then they are stuck at a point where they need to spend thousands of dollars on editing to cut it all back down to a manageable amount for a book that really makes sense. So that's not really what you want to do either, because we're not here to write an encyclopedia. You have to think of the reader, short attention span. You got to keep that attention with what you write and how you write, your whole style. So again, to start with a plan is the key here, so that you know exactly what goes in and what does not go into your book. So that is what I wanted to share. A lot of women particular, men also, but I've had quite a lot, well, of both, come recently with outcomes that were not what they had hoped for, not the success they wanted. So the publishing seems to be a really huge area where a downfall seems to happen in that area. So that is point number one that I've shared with you. Oh, let me just make sure I'm staying on topic here. So that was all about why, if you're investing to get help to write your book, you really want to be clearer than what you probably are right now on what that journey looks like. So let me share with you exactly what this journey of writing, publishing, and marketing your book really needs to look like. Not following that outdated not following that outdated path that is really no longer necessary to take, which is, I'll just write and then find a publisher and then eventually go and find some marketing. What you want to have done. So I'm not quite sure what all this dingling is here sometimes. There we go. Here's what you want to do. The new way of writing. You can have full control, full direction. You can be at every stage yourself. Instead of doing this linear way of writing, waiting to find someone to publish, waiting to figure out how to market. Here's the framework that I offer. For example, my marketing optimized framework. We start with planning very clearly, in detail and in depth. What is this outcome that you wish to achieve? What is the book going to do for you? Now, we're not talking here about this wonderful why, this feel good, why am I doing this? Why do I share my story? That's not the why I'm addressing here. I'm addressing really the tangible item of your book. How is that going to support you to elevate your leadership, to elevate your status as an authority in your expertise, in your field of expertise, and then use your book as your branding tool to really show off who you are, what you can do, to show your message, your vision, and also to share who you are. So people will want to come to you and know more about how you might be able to work with them, how they might be able to approach you, who authentically you are. That is in the planning before you write one word. That is what the framework that I have created for my clients is all about. This big initial planning stage. Once we know that, you know exactly what to write and what not to write about. And if you are in business already for a while, then you will have content. You will be able to pull content from articles, from videos, perhaps from posts into your book, and just enlarge or add it more, bring more into it. So you have a very clear plan what to write. Now, again, in my framework, we're not doing it linear, one after the other. It is all interlinked because the parts are connected. So while you are writing, after it's been established what you're writing on, how much, what goes in, what does not, we already start on setting you up on Amazon with your own account. It's your account, nothing to do with me. I'm not taking control of it. It is yours. You can go in and out anytime. All the royalty money is yours. So while you're writing, that is being established, cutting down on time and searching and figuring out what publishing looks like. Amazon gives you all the tools. There is nothing further to find, to look at. Formatting, cover, all of those parts are available for free, and you can make use of them, and it is not difficult. I show you step by step what that looks like and how you're going to do it. Now, it really is something that you will be able to do without any help. And if you have some help, then sure, you can get help with it, but you really don't need any help. So, what should your journey look like? Your journey should look like that you start planning, you then write, you set yourself up for publishing, all the tools, everything is there in Amazon. I share with you what categories, how to find the categories, how the upload works, what your keywords need to be, what you're going to look like on Amazon, what your book cover needs to look like so it stands out and people can read it. And we're not going to go into some art and wanting to win an art prize for the book cover. You want the cover to be readable as a thumbnail already. So there are lots of finer little details that we are going to work on, that you're going to get to know when you're working with me, for example. And lastly, on the point, if you already have a book and you're not really 100% totally happy with it, there are things you can change, even though it is already published. As long as you have access to your own account, you can go in and out and make changes. You can certainly work with me on making changes. And little changes might be simply to change your book title, to change categories in Amazon, to change pricing in Amazon, to change where the distribution should be going to through Amazon. Perhaps to change the book title completely, then we might need a new cover. All little things, really, they are little things, because if you want to have success with your book and you want to use it as part of your brand story, as part of saying, this is me, I know what I'm talking about, here it is in my book, to elevate who you are, your leadership and your authority status, you can make those changes. There is not that much to it when you get the hand holding, which is something that I certainly offer. So that is what I wanted to share with you in this video today. Following the outdated way of writing a book, thinking that you need to write first and then find a publisher and then look at your marketing. And be clear, not all publishers offer the marketing, and the marketing is not automatically part of publishing. It is an added on or an add-on. Usually it is something you're going to have invest further into, whatever you've already invested in first. So in the program that I offer, that's all part of it. We're working on all of those parts, those phases of your book writing journey at the same time. What you need to do is start with real detail, digging into the plan of what it is you want that book to do for you. How are you going to use it? How is the book going to help you to elevate your mission, your vision, that message that you want to put out there, that story that you have? How is that going to look? And how are you going to put that all together into your book? I should have just turned that down. That is something that you want to work on in your whole journey as an interlinked, integrated way of putting those phases together, so that you start, and by the end of it, when you're published, you have your marketing plan, all your collateral you'll need for that. You know exactly how to talk about your book, and you know exactly how to bring people to you, so that your book can really make a difference for you and the reader, of course. And if you already have a book, you certainly can make changes to it. It is not that difficult. We can do that together step by step, as long as you have access to your own account and you can get into your Amazon to make those changes yourself. So if what I've shared here with you today resonates and you're ready to get started, simply send me a message and I'll provide you with a link to book a 30-minute session with me. During that session, we'll explore how your book idea aligns with your vision, and we'll discuss what it would be like working together. So this is really your opportunity to discover what your personal book could look like. Let me give you a hand there. I'll offer you that free time. That's me for today, Sigrid de Cast, book writing, publishing, and marketing specialist. All 3 phases in one.